Muy buenas, soy Sinister Papi 8 y continuamos con la historia de Alan Wake. A ver cómo se le da al escritor esta historieta. Si acaba bien, acaba mal, cómo acaba. Y nada, si os gusta el vídeo, dale un like, que no os cuesta nada ni os influye y a mí me ayuda mucho. Si queréis seguirme, me podéis seguir en Twitter y en Twitch. Y si queréis verme en directo, pues ya sabéis, os metéis y me echáis un cable. Muchas gracias.
Mount Redtooth, its top littered with man-made eyes that stare into the endless depths of space. Tonight, the champion of light will depend on them to pick out a message from the ether.
Vale, mira, vale.
As history repeats itself, the man remembers the patterns. He knows that he needs the missing part for the telescope.
I better find Dr. Meadows' car. That's where the camera should
Acabará tirándolo, ¿no? O solo fundiendo las luces. Bueno, en cualquier caso... Aquí. ¿Eh? Está. Pensaba que había aquí alguien. Y nada. Y estaba por aquí, ¿no? Vale. Nueva realidad,
The
fragmento 1.
atmosphere in the projection booth at the drive-in was charged, almost unreal. Despite that, the air felt cool and refreshing this late at night. It'd been a hot day. The summer was nearing its end, but it wasn't over yet.
Pues venga. Y antes aquí no he entrado. Y seguro que había algo más. Estará por aquí. Ven. Mira, 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 mira. La doctora
When
Meadows.
Dr. Rachel Meadows got the call from Michael, telling her to hurry to the observatory, she didn't waste any time. It had been a nice party. She'd had a good time, but her social life would always play second fiddle to the mysteries of space. Michael never showed up, of course. He pulled over at the wrong rest stop. She never even thought about him at the time. The phenomenon in the sky above her was too fascinating.
Vale. Bueno, salimos. Voy directo a donde toca, ¿no? Pues venga. El bombero. Ya está, ¿no? Coño. Vale. 26. Verdades
There are places
cosmológicas.
where our world is worn thin, and another reality brushes against ours. One such site is Cauldron Lake near Bright Falls, Washington. But there are others. That other reality is dark, vast, and malleable, always in flux. In its depths dwell vast forces and alien energies. They're dangerous. But in one of these places, if you know how, you can channel the power of that place and use it to shape reality.
Vale. Vamos a ver si puedo abrirla. Pues sí, 15 sí. Fusil de caza. Vamos a pillarlo. Vamos a ver. UFT. Mira. Tenemos una.
The darkness rose from the depths of Cauldron Lake and took Alice. It needed words. It needed me to write its way into our world. She was leverage, a hostage. I complied, but with a twist. I put in a
El
loophole
billete.
that gave me a chance to fight back. I was hunted by shadowy enemies, but I faced the darkness. I fought it with light. I drove it back. I saved Alice, but it came with a cost. I was trapped in the dark place below Cauldron Lake.
Aquí puedo. No. El equipo está aquí. Ah, bueno. Bueno, no sé por dónde ir. Uy. Ya está. O sea, muy lenta. No sé decir si prefiero el fusil de caza o el otro. Qué telita, ¿eh? Yo creo que sí prefiero... Es que... No tengo claro. Carabina. Me la llevo. Uy, qué bien. Yo pensaba que habíamos cogido aquí antes el aparatito este para arreglar el telescopio. ¿Dónde está? ¿Qué es? Bajar ahora por ahí, vale. Si viera por aquí algo, imagino que no. Aquí no hay nada. Para arriba, para arriba. Aquí van a aparecer. Está claro. Carga. A que no me deja. Y si corro no me deja, vale. Y el otro estaba por dónde. Aquí. En
The
las
spiders
arañas.
aren't really the work of the enemy. They're a side effect. A part of the Dark Place's less significant fauna that has managed to slip through the opening I made when I arrived. Less an animal than an idea that has assumed the form of an animal. Makes them no less dangerous, but at least they're a little easier to deal with. The darkness doesn't protect them like the Taken, and thus they can be destroyed by either light or bullets right away.
Ah, por las balas también. Bueno. La naturaleza de las historias.
Stories come naturally to us. We can't help it. There are many different worlds, many competing realities within our heads, fueled by books, television, even barely remembered childhood tales. There's an endless supply of fictional concepts more familiar to us than anything or anyone real. We have a far greater connection to the fictional characters we know and love than the random people we pass on the street. Our destinies and inspirations are shaped by lies, myths, and fables.
Bueno. Algo más. Vamos a abrirla. 40 creo, no. Bueno, mira, aquí tenemos una. Bien. 30. Vamos a abrir cositas.
The taken may well be the tool the darkness favors over any other. At some point, they used to be human, but whatever humanity they once had is long gone. Now they're just shells covered and filled by darkness. The taken Mr. throws at me are more grotesque and varied than the ones I first encountered in Bright Falls. But I know how to deal with them. I'd be lying if I said they don't
Perdón.
frighten me. But I've survived worse. I can't let them stop me.
Vale, pues quiero decir, seguimos girando, pero creo que no hará falta. No, por acá. Vamos a entrar. Y luego cuando salgamos... Bueno.
It's you. How dare you? No, wait. It isn't you, is it? I suppose you'd better come in. I'll unlock the door.
Thanks. I know what you're thinking. Evil twin, supernatural powers. But most of the time, I just like to keep things basic. I want you to understand that. Like this. Need to get your hands dirty? No batteries, no moving parts, just physics. That's technology you can depend on. It's a classic. Speaking of classics, you need to be careful with this one, though. If the victim suddenly twists, you might end up cutting yourself. It's not really a workhorse, but I'm a sucker for this style. Now this is more like it. You've got slip-resistant grip. Believe me, you really want that traction once you're wrist deep in somebody. The blade's stiff enough so it won't open by accident in your pocket, but it's still really easy to open with just one hand. Now that's a big thing for me. I know what you're thinking. It's too big, too heavy. But sometimes you just need the extra oomph.
Se va hacia
You're
atrás.
talking intimidation. This is gonna do the job. Also great for dismemberings and whatnot. You know, the messy jobs. I can't tell you how many things I've MacGyvered with this stuff. Okay, now, guns. Not a big fan. I mean, how are you supposed to really connect with somebody with a bullet? I want you to understand that. I take pride in what I do. We can't both be worthless hacks, can we?
Hasta luego, Lucas.
You'll have to forgive me, but this feels very strange. It seems like this has all happened before.
Es que ha sucedido antes. Sí, es verdad.
All right. Let's get it installed.
Espera, perdón. Sube.
I think we can give this a go, although I have this strange feeling that something will
Don't
go
start
wrong.
it up yet. There's a problem with the coolant system.
Yes, that's right. I remember. All right, let me think. If they're sabotaging it, they'll be at the primary coolant pipe outside. If you can secure it, we should be ready to pick up the signal. That is why you're here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'll take care of it.
Before you go, if you have the time, I'd appreciate if you came up here and explained a few things. All of this is very strange to me.
O sea, espera. Que, bueno, va, hablamos con ella. No, porque quiere que hablemos, ¿no? Ahora no. Sí. Vamos a hablar.
Hello.
I don't quite know what's going on, but I seem to remember having had this encounter before.
It's not deja vu, Doctor. This has happened before. We're caught in a time loop.
That's utterly insane. How could that be?
I can't really explain it. I suppose I could call it magic.
I don't believe in magic.
Neither do I. But I can't argue with what I've experienced. Listen, what matters now is the signal. The last time we only caught a part of it. I need the rest of it. Whether you believe me or not, you want to look into this as much as I do, right?
Yes. All right.
I realize that you have trouble believing this.
That's an understatement. I can't deny that what you say resonates with me on some level I don't pretend to understand. But for all I know, I'm simply delusional.
But it's not just you. I've experienced the same thing as you. Doesn't that prove something, at least?
Maybe. On the other hand, given your appearance, and the fact that you're trying to convince me that I'm not insane, perhaps you're merely a hallucination that accompanies my delusions.
You're not having a psychotic episode, Doctor. For what it's worth, I'm a skeptic by nature. I completely understand your reluctance to believe me.
There are people caught so deep in their psychosis that they retroactively manufacture memories and beliefs that conform to the situation at hand.
Sure, but you have to stop second-guessing yourself at some point, if you want to get something done.
Venga, hasta luego. Déjame. Venga, no puedo saltar. No saltar. Venga. Vámonos. Pero, recoja. No tengo ahora nada más. Da igual. Bajar. Proteger la tubería. A ver si me aparece algo por aquí. Lo pillamos. Me pareció ver algo allí. Mira, vamos a pillarla. No, aquí está. ¡Oh! ¿Dónde está el otro? Vale. Manuscrito. 31, bien. ¿Dónde habían 30? 30, ¿dónde era? Ah, no, la de
After
antes.
my disappearance, they thought I was dead. I might as well have been. I know it's been 2 years. I know Alice has moved on. I've tried to find a way back to her, back to my life, but escaping the dark place is almost impossible. Time does strange things here, but dreams and radio signals can pierce the veil between the worlds. I catch glimpses and echoes of the world. Sometimes I send messages out. I can only pray that they hear them.
Vale. Bueno, pues seguimos. Imagino que por aquí ya no habrá nada, pero a ver si de gas. ¿Eh? Ha reventado ya el amigo. Ah, vamos, vale. Venga. Aquí, Fren. Ups. Recarga, recarga. ¿Dónde vamos? Ah, que no. ¿Quién hay por aquí? ¿Hay nadie? El otro. ¿Está? ¿Dónde está?
These beings hate the light, am I correct? You should be able to turn on the lights and secure the area that way.
Sí, pero... Alguien ha lanzado algo, pero no lo he visto. ¿Dónde coño está? Ahí. Ven, papito. A ver. ¿Puedo llegar allí? No, no. Puedo subir. ¿Y cómo lo protejo? Ah, coño.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Culpa mía.
We're good to go.
All right. I'll start looking for the signal. Please, head back.
Pues... quiere que me vaya.
I guess they didn't like that.
Venga. Pollones. Pues necesito vidita. Vidita, vidita. ¿Qué tal? ¡Uah! Madre mía. Acaba conmigo. Qué milagro. Fu. Fu. Ojo. Sube, sube. Oye, no me cura. No me cura. No me cura. Hostia. No me cura, no me cura. Vamos a ver, cúrame. Está a puntito, ¿eh? A puntito, a puntito. 40. O sea, ¿en serio? Me quedan balas ya, ¿eh? Ah. ¿Esto no me cura?
It's working. Please, come up here.
Sube, sube. Corre. Pollones. Venga. Puede ni moverse el amigo. Falta vidita.
You find the signal?
Yes, I don't think it's quite the same thing we had, the last time. Still, we're definitely picking it up.
Are we getting the complete signal now?
I'm afraid not. Take a look at it yourself. I'm printing out a hard copy now. I'd like to ask you a question or two before that, though, if you don't mind.
What's on your mind, Doctor?
Most people would find these events extremely disturbing, provided that they survive these creatures, that is. You seem to be quite adept at dealing with the situation. Why is that?
Yes, I was involved in... It's a complex story. I was in this small town, and a horrible thing from another dimension kidnapped my wife and manipulated me into writing this horror story that came true. I learned to fight it with light, and I managed to contain it and free my wife. But I was trapped in its world.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. So, I'm used to reality working in strange or even impossible ways. And I've fought these things, not exactly like this, but close enough for a good while now. Of course, I have certain advantages. Was there anything else?
What did you mean when you said you have advantages?
At the risk of sounding like a lunatic, reality is much more fluid than people think. It can be influenced.
I didn't take you for a mystic.
I'm not. I'm a writer. And under certain conditions, I can, for lack of a better word, rewrite reality. Change things.
That's absurd.
But it works.
Assuming I believe this, why don't you simply, I don't know, write yourself some superpowers?
It's not quite that simple. You need to follow certain laws of drama, I suppose. You need to think about consistency and symbolism. Often what you write isn't anywhere near as important as what you imply. There are things out there that will take advantage of your mistakes.
You really believe in this?
Don't look at me like that. You've experienced some of this yourself.
I will gladly admit that something exceedingly strange is going on. But this idea that you're somehow altering reality with your writing is ridiculous. You're essentially saying you're controlling my actions. Leaving aside the rational arguments against this, what gives you the right?
Well, it's more like having a destiny. A path you're on. You're not aware of it, but there it is. If somebody changes it, what difference does it make? It's what every writer does. If you write something that affects one of the characters, they don't really know about that.
I'm not a character. Are you saying that it's all right to take advantage of someone if they aren't aware of it?
Look, all I meant was that if you're genuinely making all your own decisions, and those decisions lead to whatever destiny you have, what practical difference does it make?
I suppose that depends on whether our destinies are determined by things like physics and probabilities, or natural reality, which is presumably neutral and impartial, or by some kind of an intelligence. If it's the latter, that intelligence makes choices based on some criteria. If we suffer as a result of those choices, there's a moral and ethical element involved, regardless of whether we're aware of its manipulations. Wouldn't you agree?
You're taking this very well. I thought you'd be hangry.
I suppose I would be if I thought you could actually do this.
Vale, se acabó, doctora. Cogemos ya la copia impresa y se acabó.
Another printout. Another signal fragment. The message is still not complete, but it's another piece of the weapon he has built against his adversary. Mere words on a piece of paper, but in the right hands, they will hold back the darkness.
Y hasta aquí el vídeo de hoy. El próximo día continuaremos y si os ha gustado darle un like al vídeo, que me echéis un cable y me podéis seguir en Twitch, ¿vale? Recordarlo. Y muchas gracias por haber visto el vídeo. Saludos.